On the battlefield in eastern Ukraine, fate once again didn't side with the Russian forces. Despite their desperate attempts to resist, the invading forces were faced with a new, unstoppable force: drones, belonging to the 65th Separate Mechanized Brigade of the Ukrainian Armed Forces. Footage from the front lines shows Russian soldiers trying various methods to stop the onslaught from the skies. They threw rifles into the air, even using pieces of wood to block them. But all to no avail. The drones continued to fly with precision, hitting their targets. The 65th Brigade, now widely known for its successful ground and air operations, operated drones with deadly accuracy. From high altitudes, armored vehicles, defensive bunkers, and even troops hiding in enemy trenches were struck one by one. Loud explosions ringing out, turning enemy positions into seas of fire and rubble. "Their fear is very real," said a Ukrainian drone operator. In the footage, you can see them running in open areas, shooting, screaming, but knowing that death could come at any moment from above. For Russian troops, the drone threat is not just about physical destruction, but also psychological pressure. Every buzz in the sky is a warning sign. There is no safe haven, no cover, and no way to fight effectively. This sense of helplessness destroys morale faster than any artillery barrage. These precision strikes also have a major strategic impact, with enemy defenses collapsing, supply lines cut off, and communications disrupted. A domino effect spreads to other units, which lose coordination. Drones, relatively inexpensive and remotely operated, have proven capable of inflicting heavy losses on a vastly superior enemy. Military analysts believe this battle demonstrates the changing face of modern warfare. Ukraine is fighting not only with courage, but also with technological ingenuity, said one expert. Drones have become a symbol of the revolution in warfare, and Russia is unprepared for it. The 65th Separate Mechanized Brigade is now gaining prominence. They are not only formidable ground forces, but also masters of the skies, armed with a deadly drone fleet. Each of their missions demonstrates one thing: that fate on the front lines favors the more intelligent, not the more numerous. The battle on the front lines has once again proven that fate is not on Russia's side. All their efforts to stop the Ukrainian drone wave have been futile. With every explosion, with every destroyed enemy position, the world sees how old forces crumble before new strategies. Russia may still be trying to hold out, but as long as the skies remain dominated by Ukrainian drones, victory belongs to the more intelligent, not simply the more numerous. This war is far from over, but one thing is certain: the front lines have changed forever. And as long as the 65th Brigade's drones continue to operate, at present, Ukraine estimates that Russia's overall losses, in dead and injured, during the full-scale war have surpassed 1 million as of 2025. Over 128,000 Russian soldiers have been confirmed dead in Ukraine since the 2022 full-scale invasion began, according to a joint investigation by the BBC Russian service, Mediazona, and a network of volunteers. As of early September, the team had identified 128,115 dead Russian soldiers by name. In June, July, and August alone, journalists found 23,305 new obituaries of Russian servicemen. On some days, up to 420 new notices appeared, about 3 times more than the daily average in 2024. The BBC noted that published obituaries do not represent the full death toll in any given period, as casualty reports often reach families with delays and require additional verification. The investigation found that 14% of the identified dead were prisoners recruited from penal colonies, while 29% were volunteer fighters. The share of volunteers, many of whom signed contracts after the war began, is rapidly growing and now makes up the core of Russia's offensive force in Ukraine. About 11% of the dead were mobilized soldiers, though the real figure may be higher since many obituaries do not specify military status. Moscow and Kiev rarely release official casualty figures. Ukraine estimates that Russia's overall losses in dead and injured during the full-scale war have surpassed 1 million. On August 12, President Volodymyr Zelensky said Russian losses were roughly 3 times higher than Ukraine's, though he did not disclose Ukraine's total. Despite the mounting losses, Russia has managed to make creeping advances in eastern Ukraine's Donetsk region by rotating in new contract soldiers. As of September 5, Ukraine's General Staff said Russia had lost 1,086,220 troops since February 2022, figures that are broadly in line with Western intelligence estimates. Mediazona and Meduza separately estimate that at least 220,000 Russian troops have been killed since the start of the invasion, using inheritance registry data as their primary source after Russia's state statistics agency stopped publishing national mortality figures. The BBC and Mediazona first published their verified casualty database in February 2025, on the war's 3rd anniversary. Volunteers manually check each entry to avoid duplicates and ensure accuracy. Currently, Ukraine has claimed to have struck a diesel pumping station which provides fuel for Russian forces in an apparent blow to Vladimir Putin's war machine. Ukraine's General Staff said on Friday, August 29th, that the facility was hit in the village of Netopovichi in Bryansk Oblast. The Russian region borders Ukraine and Belarus. The military said in a statement that the station pumps diesel via petrol product pipelines that mainly supply Russian forces. Ukraine's General Staff said a fire was observed on land where the facility is located, and the consequences of the attack are being worked out. Video shared by Ukraine's General Staff appeared to show 2 explosions and a fire erupting at the facility. Ukrainian drones have repeatedly struck refineries and other oil infrastructure in recent weeks in a bid to weaken Russia's war economy. Fuel stations in some Russian regions have run dry, and prices spiked as a result of the attacks. Bryansk Oblast's governor, Alexander Bogomaz, said 18 Ukrainian fixed-wing drones were downed over the region overnight, according to the